Hello and welcome to another episode. And today we will be looking at the classic Lightning Blade. It is a nice choice for closing down the distance quite quickly and doing a decent amount of damage, while also following up for a stun if the opponent hasn't substituted. It is a 7-second cooldown ninjutsu, so it comes back pretty fast, has a power of 2, has a range of 2, and that's pretty much all it does. It can be blocked, and it does have hyper armor when using it. However, it does not have it when you're holding it down, and does not have it at the very end. So, you have hyper armor at the start. You have hyper armor when you're using it, and that's pretty much it. So you kind of want to thread the needle with this one. So, yeah, here's some footage of it, gameplay of it, and pros and cons, etc. as usual. It can be done on the ground and the air, and when you're holding the ninjutsu button, you will stay stationary. However, you can control the direction that it's going in. However, if there's an enemy nearby, it will automatically go to that enemy. Just remember that when you are using this ninjutsu, you leave yourself quite open and predictable. Because it's going in a straight line, you're always going to be either blocked or dodged if it's a good player, or if they can react to it in time. However, if you're going from a higher position, like for example from above them, or from below them and above, then you might have a better chance. However, it still depends on who you're fighting and how well and when you use the lightning blade. And obviously you want to become familiar with the distance, otherwise you'll miss. When you use Chidori on the ground and the enemies on the ground, they will be stunned and will kind of allow you temporarily, if you can catch up to it, to actually combo them or have the opportunity to do so. However, if it's in the air, usually they will be able to move around even though you have hit them. So you want to make sure that if you are going to use it, that you use it the way that you want to. Otherwise, you might not have a chance in some situations, and some situations you might still have a chance in the air. It just depends on the reaction time of the opponent and the reaction time that you have, and more or less just the movement that you have and the speed that you have. Now, the hyper armor is really useful against range types, because range types love spamming instead of going ahead and actually using ninjutsu or combining them or actually kind of attacking in a sense where, it feels slightly less like spam. This is the best way to counter it with hyper armor or moves that can kind of just about outspeed them. And once you can outspeed them, you can then follow up with your combo. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot to talk about this ninjutsu because it's quite straightforward and basic. It's another strength ninjutsu. Unlike, for example, Sage Art, Wind Style, Resin Shuriken, it's more or less of a utility ninjutsu because you can actually go ahead and break something down, like Sand Shield or Water Pillar. Now, because most of the things that we've seen so far have been strength ninjutsus, they haven't been able to be, utilized. Same with teleportation jutsu. Believe it or not, teleportation jutsu is a utilization ninjutsu. Mainly because you can use it for flag battles, and that's the main purpose of it. And maybe combat battles, if you really want to be more flexible. Because you can go ahead and increase the damage that you do, and do better tracking, and not only that, but you can escape stuff. Same for Resin Shuriken. Someone might be using Water Pillar when they're a healer, and they might be trying to heal their teammates, or they might be trying to defend a flag or base, and that way Resin Shuriken outclassifies it. So that's why, utility ninjutsus always outclassify strength ninjutsus. Obviously, you can still kind of, beat them because strength ninjutsus have hyper armor built into them usually, and they also do a decent amount of damage. This gameplay was quite close and I almost lost the game. However, I was just about lucky enough to actually win it last second. So yeah, it was a pretty cinematic finish. pretty cool game, and everyone played quite decently well. But yeah, that's Lightning Blade, and yeah, that's it for the video, to be honest with you. Just a basic, straightforward strike. There isn't much to it that I need to really explain. Just get used to the timing. That's all I can really recommend. Once you get better at identifying that when someone makes a certain move, for example when they dodge, when they perform a ninjutsu, those are the exact moments that you can attack them. So, once you get used to the timings and everything like that, you can definitely land your ninjutsus much better. But yeah, like, subscribe, and push the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.